All right, guys. Welcome to the Nick's Boots from Start to Finish podcast. I'm your host, Shiler Mao. I am joined here today by our good friends at Heat Straps, Jordan and Tyler. How you doing, guys?
We're doing good, man. We're excited to be part of the podcast, and I've been watching these for a while now, so it's an honor to be here and kind of talk about our partnership, and we're excited to be here for sure.
Yeah, thanks for hosting us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, well, it's awesome to have you guys. What are you working on right now? I think it's something to do with what we're working on.
Yeah, so we are excited to kind of be expanding our partnership with you guys. We are currently working on two of new products that we're going to be bringing to market for you guys. We actually just got done with the production of the Wax Canvas Patriot. This is a newer version, something a little bit different than the first time that we, did the Patriot, but I think it's new and improved, and is going to have some pretty awesome fabrics and a new fit that's kind of new to our lineup here. Something that we've been refining over the last couple months. So we're very excited to be bringing it to the table and showing everybody what we came up with.
Yeah, I mean, it looks awesome. I think that I don't know. I think it's fabulous, and I think it's going to be very in demand. Was there anything that kind of inspired you to come up with that design in particular?
Yeah. So we're gonna backtrack a little bit here. We've kind of established ourselves as pretty much a true form workwear company, whereas opposed to like where some other brands might be more fashion forward. Our stuff is really function first, but it is always going to include kind of the best fabrics and raw materials that we can possibly source. So, kind of a new trend, and it's not really new, but functionality of this piece in particular is it's a shorter crop, whereas most of our other stuff has been more longer. So it's going to be able to give you access to like your pockets and like a tool belt and stuff along those lines. So that is kind of where this inspiration came from. It's kind of you're seeing it more like a shorter crop. It's just a little bit more comfortable to wear, not as much to be carrying around with you.
I think it looks looks better too.
Right. Yeah. No. Definitely. This is function first, but it looks very very well, and so it's hard to kind of balance sometimes the two of those things. But I think we nailed it with this pattern.
Yeah, I'm super pumped. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be our best selling one yet, actually. So, for those that are not familiar with you guys, why don't you do a little background, a little introduction, yourselves, Heat Straps, where this started, where it's going. Let's start there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy to think that we're actually sitting here having this conversation because before Heat Straps was even a brand, I was a fan of Nick's boots, and was always just like a big fan of high quality American made, products. So forever, I mean, I was watching your products being built, on YouTube. Both me and Tyler are both big YouTube guys. But in 2018, when I was in the fire academy, I came up with the product, which is the namesake
Are
of the
you a
company.
fireman, Jordan?
Yes. So both Tyler and I are third generation
Kind of
career
important. Yeah.
firefighters in Hudson County. So we work in Jersey City, which is a city right outside of Lower Manhattan. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. I never in a million years thought that we'd be making clothing, but it's kind of just where everything kind of just funneling into this space. And we've been fortunate enough to kind of have mentors along the way that have given us the opportunity and the resources that we need to kind of get the job done.
Well, you got
Um,
started with something fire related, right? Like what? Talk about the heat strap, right? Why you're called heat straps.
so Tyler can explain that a little bit.
So it's a glove tether or a glove strap that attaches to your glove, and also attaches to your wrist. So it allows you to work with your bare hands if need be, and your glove's always on your person. So when you're going to mask up or multitask, your glove is always on your person.
Right.
So it's mainly
You know,
because of the mask, right? That's the main reason.
mask and the tool. When you're lining in with the hose, you can take your glove off and feel where you are in terms of like heat sensory. When you're advancing, because nowadays we're all bundled up with hoods and you're covered head to toe with gear, so it's hard to judge where you are inside the fire sometimes. So that was one of the main reasons why we came out with that product.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, I mean, your gloves are constantly coming on and off, and it's just like the same conversation that, we've had forever since we started this company. But, you know, your gloves are constantly coming on and off, whether you think they are or they're not. Um, and so our father was a firefighter as well. And I came up with the idea in the fire academy. So when I was there, I was masking up on a graded staircase, like doing a drill, and I dropped my glove in between the grate of the stairs, and I lost it. So I had to go retrieve my glove, and I went home that afternoon. I said, Dad, why do I have to worry about losing my gloves? Why don't they just like stay attached to your wrist like a ski glove? And he's like, that's a really good idea. So that's kind of where it all started, sourcing materials, manufacturing. um, you know like I said, I mean, it's kind of crazy to think where we're at today, but the production process, the sourcing, everything that came with that product kind of led us to where we are today through just little bits and pieces of learning the whole entire process, um, learning how to operate a business, trying to figure out, quality control and everything else that comes with it. I mean, we had some pretty, large problems when we first started
Man,
with manufacturing because it was all outsourced. And, we realized that a lot of the work has to be done under our supervision. And that's kind of what led us to kind of having our own shop here, and having our own inventory space and production all underneath one roof.
Yeah, I always say like the only thing harder than managing your own factory is somebody else's factory. So
Correct.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah. So, and like I said, I mean, that was a whole, eye-opening experience for us because we were manufacturing in New England, right? And we didn't realize how many resources there are in New Jersey. And, historically, New Jersey has just been like a manufacturing capital of the country for such a long time. And how, it's just getting whittled down little by little. And it's, tough to see, you know what I mean? Even in the space that we're in right now, it's only about a quarter occupied.
Yeah.
It's still a big space. I mean, you were here, but just think about what it was,
Yeah.
back in the 80s and 90s to where we're at today. We're happy that we're the luckiest guys in the world to have this facility and see the potential of growth, and the ability to expand kind of based on how quickly that we're able to adapt and learn how to the whole manufacturing process and kind of not do it too quickly where we get ahead of ourselves, but take each step in stride and learn a little bit each and every day that we're here.
Yeah, dude, I totally understand. It's been a it's been a long, generally downward road for a lot of the manufacturing going on around here. But hopefully, we're trying to bring it back little by little.
Yeah.
Um, we started work like I think we start to work together. What we just like sent you some boots to wear in like your photography, basically, and then it kind of
Yeah. So it started with the station boot, the side zip boot.
right,
Um, that's where we kind of went back and forth. You know, I think Carl, we had a mutual connection through Carl, and Carl introduced us to you guys. And we said, hey, at the time, I think you guys were looking to design a station boot with a side zip, and we kind of walked you through some of the specs that are required on our
right.
job.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I still wear them today. They're great boots. Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, dude, it's a great boot. I mean, Tyler, are you still wearing it's like a mock toe, right? The
Yes, I'm
wedge.
actually right now. Yeah, they're one of the most comfortable boots I've owned. So
That's
yeah, I love
awesome.
the mock toes. Very comfortable, very durable, well built, overly built, like everything else that you guys do. So
And
Yeah.
then we released, I think the first jacket was that 2022.
the first Patriot.
Yeah, I think the first Patriot might have been in 22. Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds about right. That was kind of when we first started really like it's kind of crazy, right? So at the time we went from manufacturing heat straps to okay, what else can we make for firefighters? Let's make a denim chore coat, right? Um, and then we're like, okay, well, how do we make the denim chore coat better? We can do it with wax canvas. We can do it with this material. We can do it with non-synthetics. And before you know it, we're realizing that there's a whole other market out there that of you know people that work in trades that people are just working and demanding environments where they need super durable stuff and they're tired of stuff breaking down and tired of stuff kind of being manufactured overseas and manufactured with cheap raw
Yeah.
materials. So that product, the Patriot, kind of stemmed. It was the first step for us to kind of move into a less synthetic world where we lined a majority of the coat with wool.
Yeah.
And then even today, right, with our new products that we've developed with you guys, it's even less synthetic, right? So the whole entire every garment that we created for you guys, in this run, there's zero synthetics, which is like unheard of today.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's rare. I mean, there's, I don't know. And it's hard to get it domestically too. So I think that's also really impressive. So what do we have coming up? So we've got the why don't you tell us the three jackets that we've got launching if you want to describe them. We've got a canvas one, we've got the ranchman coming back with the rough out, and then we've got a new option. I think you're the V3.
Yep.
Do you mind describing those a little bit?
Yeah, so the first wax, we'll start with the wax canvas. It is a Type 1 jacket. That is the design that, based off of what Levi's made back in, the early 1900s. It is a very classic look, but it is completely functional as you can wear it in doing any type of work that you
Yeah,
want. It's very very tough. It's a number 10 duck canvas. It's a wax canvas. It's a dark charcoal color.
it's a really
Uh,
cool color, by the way.
yeah, it's a great color. It has all solid brass hardware. So there's going to be 6 rivets on each side of the jacket that kind of hold the folds in place. And it has 2 front pockets. Yeah. So we're and it all. Oh, don't forget the leather. So
Oh,
it has a 1964 brown rough out collar.
Yep.
So the two colors combined, they look very very
yeah,
nice.
it's a really sharp jacket.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it's
we've
sharp.
been
Yeah.
wearing it, wear testing it, and everywhere we go, people are like, "Wow, that's a really nice jacket," right? So the goal of this garment was to kind of fit the best of both worlds where it's function and looks really really good. So we're excited for this one.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And then the Type 3. I call it V3 Type 3. Yeah.
Yeah,
Why don't you run through that?
so this is a Type 3, and it's actually, I guess, the Patriot V3. So kind of going back and forth with the naming here. But this is a Type 3, also based off of one of Levi's original designs. It is a 1964 tan leather, 3.5 to 4 ounces. It's a garment, really nice and pliable, but still, heavy enough where it's durable and can be worn in a work environment.
And a
Uh,
rough out too.
And a
yeah,
rough
yeah,
out.
it's a rough out.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, I've been a big fan of the rough out as of late. I think it's kind of, it looks really nice. It's very durable.
It looks nice. It's durable, and it also like it's not. I love a smooth side leather jacket, but it also it, it's such a
Yeah.
vibe. You know what I mean? Like having that
Right.
smooth side, and I think the rough out is a little more toned down, if you will. So I think that was a nice decision.
Yeah, I think it's more approachable for more people. I know
Yeah.
that people love the original Patriot, the first leather jacket that we made for you guys, and people are just like blown away every single time they pick it up because they can't believe it, just like the
Well, it's
heft,
yeah,
right?
it's like 14 pounds or something. I mean, I know it's
Right.
not really, but it's yeah.
Yeah, it's a beast, right? But you're
And I think
still going to
yeah,
get the same feel, right, with this V3, but it's a lot more manageable because it's less leather.
it's lighter. It's way lighter weight. Like the first one, I think maybe only like 20% of the country probably lived in a place where it got cold enough to wear it. And like now it's this one I think is much more generally appealing for sure.
Right.
Lot wider temperature range that it's appropriate for.
Yeah, Ty can talk about kind of it's made to be more versatile and like
Yeah,
fun. So
yeah. Which one? The
this one,
yeah. I like the rough out. It adds more character too. Definitely more versatile than the first leather Patriot we did with you guys. Um, Also the pocket space too inside is nice too. So
yeah,
You want to hold that up a little bit?
yeah. So
so it's a Type 3 design, right? So this is kind of like a wider V than what you see in typical Type 3 jackets. The one thing that people don't really like, people don't know kind of what we do on a day to day. These patterns are all made by us, right? So like, whereas other companies they go out and they have just like a template of a Type 3 jacket or a Type 1 jacket, like this is all done from scratch, right? So we'll have a concept that kind of lives in our brains. We'll put it on paper, we'll draw it out, and then we'll make the pattern based off of that. So it's
Yeah.
kind of our own. It's going to be very distinguishable because it's not like a typical Type 3 jacket, if that makes
Yep.
sense.
Yeah, super excited for the Type 3. I think, so that leather is expensive, so that's going to be a little pricier than the wax canvas, obviously.
Yep.
But I think they're both awesome options, and we've got the Ranchman coming back.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean it'll be a big launch for both of our companies, I think. And I'm excited, nervous. I really hope they work out. I know they will. They're a great product, so I know they'll all find a home.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? I mean, it's, kind of trying to just get the word out there as to what we have going, right? I mean, it's just, there's no corners cut when it comes to raw materials, right? So the way I explain it is, the person that goes down the rabbit hole that is looking for an all leather boot, handmade, custom, widths, different fits, different heights, is the same customer that's going to be going down the same rabbit hole looking for a jacket that doesn't have any polyester in the sleeves,
Yep.
right? And it is a big difference in cost on both of our ends when we're trying to come up with price points. But I think that our customers are they have been. That's the only reason why we have a place in business, right? Is that we don't cut corners, right? The whole jacket is lined with 100% wool fabric,
Yeah,
so
I mean, you got to pay the cost to be the boss. I mean,
right,
it's a great product, and I always say, I mean, you can make something wherever you want to make it, as long as the product's great. It's
right,
okay.
yep.
And this is an awesome. These are awesome products, and really excited to see them go live. Anything else you guys want to add to the audience to let them know what's coming up? You got anything else coming, like on your own end?
Yeah, so currently we are getting the leather ready to be cut for the V3s.
So the canvas will be in stock, ready to
Right.
go, right?
Yep.
And then the V3s will probably be done in like 2 or 3 weeks after they launch. So definitely not the like extended timeline we've had in the past.
Yeah.
So these will be shipping fast. The Ranchmans will also be in stock, and so these will all be going out pretty quick, if not immediately. So just that for the audience.
Yeah, no, 100%. All right. In the past, just I guess it's just not that it was poor planning on our end, but just like trying to figure out how we balance, kind of what we have going on in the shop and our partnership and trying to figure out it's a ton of work, right? So what people don't understand about leather work, Um, everything has to be, each piece has to be cut individually, right? It has to be placed on the hide based on the quality
Sure.
of the leather,
Mhm.
and each piece is cut out individually, right? As opposed to fabric where you can, pile it, layer it one on top of the other and then cut it. Leather has to be placed, pieced, and there's, I forget how many pieces in the Patriot jacket. And
It was like three, man.
what's that?
It was like three.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So yeah, so we're happy to, now that we're, able to kind of expand our partnership a little bit. We're happy that we're going to be able to kind of bring down our lead times a little bit and make sure that we get these delivered, on a reasonable time.
Yeah, I mean, I think well, it's nice. The jacket, I mean, it's nice in some ways. Obviously, it makes them expensive, but you do get some flexibility with color, right? So we can have different colorways, and I think that's what I envision, in the future. But because the jackets use essentially 2 to 3 sides of leather,
Right.
um, and there's roughly, you know 100 or so in a shipment in a drum, and so you don't have to go through that many jackets to have some variety there, which is nice. But that obviously does explain the cost, right? And so
Right.
your standard, like if you were getting like a super perfectly coated uniform leather, you're usually looking at like 40 square feet per
Right.
jacket, but
Yeah.
because we use a more aniline, like it's very high quality, but it's not painted. So that means you're probably looking at a little lower yield per side, and so then you're running through more of them on a uh,
Right.
per unit
Yeah.
basis.
Yeah. I mean, Side L has been, the leather's been great to work with. Um, we're, kind of going through and sorting through the leather, trying to pick out the best pieces, right? Because there are going to be some variance as far as how much I forget, I don't know the word, but the rough outside, like how much, uh,
The nap, like,
yeah, that right is
okay,
because different parts of the hide,
sure,
different sides. There's going to be some color variance, but not as bad as if it was to be on the smooth side of the leather. So
yeah, it's called patina,
yeah, yeah. So
people pay good
yeah,
money for
yeah,
that.
exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, each piece is going to be unique, right? So the one thing about a handmade product, and it's just something that I think that all handmade companies deal with, right, is just trying to explain what really goes into making these things. There's such variance, right? It's a uniform garment. If you cut it in the middle and you cut it in half, but if you look at the garment itself, both sides are going to be different, right? Because each piece is cut and sewn by hand, right? And that's something that we take a lot of pride in, right? So I think like we've become a society that like is scrolling on Instagram every single day, and you're looking at these perfect images that are photoshopped, and everything's uniform, everything's so perfect. The buttons line up with the belt, and everything's just like square, right?
Everything's filtered. Yeah.
Right. But
Well, but
to
but Jordan, it's also the materials. I mean, and the same is true for our boots. It's like if you were in like a large garment manufacturing factory, there is no freaking way you would use the thicknesses that we use in our boots or that you use in these jackets. Like the machines just can't work with them. So
right,
that's why they're done by hand, and that's why you're getting a little bit of variation. But I'm not gonna like it's gonna look great. Like nobody's gonna,
yeah, no, one
I mean
hundred percent,
we're not talking like the collar thing.
yeah,
They're gonna
no, no,
look
no,
great.
correct,
Um,
yeah.
but
I
it's
think
also because you're paying for the thickness of the materials, the durability, like that's what you're getting. And some of
yeah,
that stuff just doesn't work with modern garment or footwear machinery.
right,
It's got to be done by hand.
yeah, that and the fact that like there's no automation, right? So like whereas you would see other brands using automation, right? It's done on a machine. It's put on a stencil, and the machine is it's like an embroidery machine. It will just like sew
Yeah,
the
but
pocket.
they're not
So
those machines are not using 3 to 4 ounce leather. I mean, they're going to
right,
be working with like goat skin and
right,
Like thinner stuff.
far thinner materials.
right.
Same with us. Like on a these automated stitching machines, like they can't handle 7 8 ounce boot leather.
Correct. Yeah, but yeah, we take pride in doing this all by hand, right? Is more of what I'm trying to get at. It's amazing to see the process of these jackets being made and how much of it is done by hand. Certain pieces have to be hammered out by hand so they can be flattened and sewn. Like it's just like there's so many components that people just I don't know if they're I guess they just don't understand, but just trying to get the word out there that this is 100% made by hand, right?
Yep.
And each piece really is a work of art. So, yeah.
Yeah, guys, super excited. I think they're going to be a big hit. We're already working on more stuff for 2025. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be great. And thanks again for being a great partner. We love working with you guys. You make it a lot easier for us than some of our other partners. So it's great. It's great to work with you guys, and I really appreciate you being on. Thanks so much for joining the pod, and I hope you guys have a great day. I actually have to ask you a question.
Yep.
When you go on duty as a fireman, is there
Yep.
ever a little part of you that's like, I hope there's a fire today?
Every tour.
So, like, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Nobody gets hurt, obviously, but
No.
you
So,
like the juice, you like the action, right?
yeah, I mean, it's the greatest job in the world. Every single tour, every single tour is different, right? I would never in a million years hope that somebody's house gets burnt down or anybody gets hurt, right? But it's just the nature of the beast, right? It's just we work in an old city where everything was built, wood frame. Everything's very close together. It's very densely populated, um, you know. But I'm the happiest. We both probably say the same thing, that we're both the luckiest guys in the world to work in a place where we're legitimate firefighters, right? We don't do any medical calls really. It's just straight fire calls, and yeah, I mean, I love fighting fires, right? Like, it's like literally what I feel like we were, put on this earth to do is like I go to work every single day, and I'm happy to be there. So, yeah. And it's a generational thing. We're third generation in the same county within a small, distance from where our father worked, where our grandfather worked. Yeah. So people ask, right? Like when I meet somebody, like majority of people don't know that we do this, right? So when people ask what we do for a living, I don't tell people, we own a clothing company. It's like, we're firefighters. Like that's what we are. Right. And this is just something that we also just have a passion for, is just, manufacturing. And, we didn't go to school for pattern making or anything along those lines. So from the start, we've been able to kind of have open eyes, open ears, kind of learn from some of the best in the business. And we're very fortunate to have what we have here. And we wouldn't be here without the support of so many people. So, yeah, it's great.
All right, boys, great answer. Thanks for the chat, and hope to catch up again soon.
Awesome, Shiloh.
Good,
Thank
Thank
you.
man.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having
it.
us.
Thank you.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
See ya.